Vanguard newspaper this morning. Also, speaking of what we have, on page 7 says, take decisive action now, you might just want to read up on what we have right there, talking about what we have on page 7. Also, moving on to other stories that we have inside the pages on business economy. Nigeria's monthly trade surplus falls 35% to $1.39 billion. Also on the same page, resolving energy challenge critical to Nigeria's prosperity goal. That's coming from the federal government. Also on page 21, 19 Rivers communities seek LGA support to meet development needs. And digital trade engine promises $900 billion boost for women entrepreneurs. Has shown activities capable of truncating power rotation, group tells Nigerians. And also flipping onto what we have, right here on page 31, AFCFTA success depends on grassroots participation. That's coming from Bagudu. And of course, open grazing not banned nationwide. That's coming from the federal government. All right, now moving on to some sports stories this morning. AFCON 2025, CAF releases official match calendar. The Sun says Mo has shown lack of appetite. Chelsea gets deadline for final 2025 AFCON squad. Osimhen less Galatasaray's Champions League winning run, hence with defeat to Union. Galatasaray may stop Osimhen from playing in AFCON. MBBF sad to lose out on WNBA star Kiki. Ronaldo will play in World Cup opener. Road to AFCON. Bruce names Nigerian in preliminary Bafana squad. Galatasaray sells 90,000 Osimhen modeled retro jerseys. On the back page, we have Champions League. Esteval outclasses Yamal as Barca win sends Champions League statement. And of course, there's a run of today's matches in the Champions League as well as results from yesterday's matches in the UEFA Champions League. That's as much as we can take on the newspaper review this morning. We go on for a break and return with the weather reports. Don't go anywhere.
progress. Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I get the school fees. You too much.
Na money point oh.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as sure banker. Progress na small wind wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for your progress.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Thank you very much for staying with us. It's still AM120. This morning we are talking security, looking at the security apparatus of the nation, and of course the latest development that's been happening in the nation. Just yesterday, Governor Nasser Idris of Kebbi State confirmed the release of the 24 abducted schoolgirls of Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga, in Danko, Wasago local government area of the state. The governor stated that there was no ransom paid by either the state or federal government for the release of the girls. The president, however, applauded the security agencies for the efforts made to secure the freedom of all the victims taken away by the terrorists. He also tasked the security agencies to intensify efforts to rescue the remaining students still being held captive. And that's the latest development we have, on the kidnapped schoolgirls from last week. And this morning, we will be talking about rising insecurity and Southwest governors' efforts. We also saw that 2 days ago, governors from the Southwest, came to where in Ibadan, held a meeting, and, it was all talks on security. And of course, it was a call for, or more call for state policing. But to do justice to this particular topic this morning, we have the Director General, Development Agenda for Western Nigeria, Dawn Commission. He is Dr. Sheye Oyeleye. He's also a lawyer. Thank you very much, Doctor. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Let's look at the security incidents we've faced in the country in the last 1 week thereabouts. What would you have to say about it before we go, into the nitty-gritty of this particular conversation?
Well, thank you. It's quite unfortunate that we've had a sudden spike again in the insecurity in the country. For quite a while, there's been, I won't call it a law, but the trend has been downwards. And maybe about even 3 months ago, there was a report that came out that the issues of insecurity has abated, and it seems as if our security forces are on top of it. But suddenly, in the last month or so, there was a spike again, and you start asking questions: where has the leak come from again? Where did we drop the ball? It's unfortunate when you have children going to school and they're afraid to go to school, particularly even in the northern part of Nigeria, where we have a lot of challenges with out-of-school children. And then the few ones that are going to school, they are afraid for their lives. So what's going to happen? Parents will then tell their wards, please stay at home. Who then wins? It becomes a massive loss for the nation. So it's quite unfortunate. And of course, we now all need again to review our tactics and step up the plate. We can't just, some have alluded it to external reasons, which I would like not to mention. But the challenge is we need to put our house in order and find out. This shouldn't be an intractable problem. Chibok was 14, 15 years ago. It shouldn't be repeated. I mean, if Chibok happened 14 years ago, we've had 14 years to perfect our strategies. It's a shame that it is still happening. So something needs to be done.
I want you to, I know you said you don't want to talk about it, but I think it's high time we start having that conversation. When you mentioned external forces, what did you mean by that?
No, I mean, some have alluded to the fact that, United States branded the country of particular concern. The American president had his own views about what's been going on in the country. And then some are now trying to say that maybe there is a correlation between what he said and then the sudden spike. But I think that's a bit tenuous. I don't want to link it to that. But who knows? Now, this is the work of our intelligence agencies. You see, some of these things are better tackled if we strengthen the intelligence arm so that even before it happens, you are able to nip it in the bud. So even when the Mr. President in America made those statements, intelligence should have told us. That's assuming, without conceding, that that's a reason. Intelligence should have told us that, okay, this is going to happen and there might be a spike. But thankfully, some of these kids are being released now, and our job as a country is to find out and make sure that this does not repeat itself. Because it gives, it's a stain on the country. Whenever you go out and people are saying, oh, sorry about what happened in your country, what's happening to those kids, it shouldn't be happening.
Doctor, now, you said something about the intelligence, and I'm very curious because a number of times now we've seen some of these cases happen, the attacks in some communities, amongst other things, and some of them said they had told them earlier that they were coming. They gave them a forewarning, but nothing was done to avert some of those cases in those environments. Now, these are questions that we need answers to. How do we nip it in the bud? Given that in many of those cases, we have seen reports that these people gave a forewarning before coming to strike. How do we build our database when you talk about intelligence, when you talk about our movements and all that?
See, it's not an intractable problem, but it's what I would call a dangerous problem that the country needs to, and that our security forces need to find out what is going on. Because take the Kebbi case as an example. The governor of Kebbi said that the soldiers were in the school up to like 3:30 a.m. Then they moved their way, and within 45 minutes, the bandits, or whatever you want to call them, moved in and took the children away. And you are then asking, has there been a compromise along the way? Because if, they acted on intelligence, as an example, that something might happen in that area, and they stationed the military there. Then after a while, meanwhile, don't forget, because you don't even want to accuse the military of maybe there's compromise. By virtue of their training, by virtue of their operations, soldiers are not like policemen. They are not stationed somewhere permanently forever. They move their operational bases from time to time. So just maybe, and I'll give them the benefits of doubt, maybe that it was time for them to move. They don't move during the day anyway, they move in the night. So it could have been that it was time for them to move on. But if they moved at 3:30 and within 45 minutes, bandits moved in, it's telling you that something somewhere, there's been a break in the chain of intelligence. That's what it looks like.
Talking of them, giving them benefit of doubt, we also saw what happened to the Brigadier General and and talking of intelligence, leaked information, talking of the location of where he was, and eventually he was, he was killed. We also what happened. It was gory. It was horrific. But at this point, what do you think should happen to the military in terms of intelligence? Do you think we should start talking about overhauling our security, military apparatus entirely, or what exactly should the federal, or how exactly, should the federal government go about?
You see, with the military, and I'm talking of all the arms of military, including even the intelligence, which is a critical arm, I think they need to do a lot of soul searching. If there are moles among them, it shouldn't be that difficult to fish them out. That's if there are moles. Again, that's me assuming without conceding that there are moles. But if there are moles among them, because if you have one or two moles, it compromises whatever intelligence or security things you're putting in place. So they need to do a lot more to ensure that the chain is not broken in the middle or has been compromised somewhere. It's like a rail line. If you remove, anytime you hear about derailment on some rail, you find out that you get to a point where the derailment happened. They've removed some, what was it called? The things that tie the track together. So if in the military command as well, they need to be very sure that those that they are sharing information with are 100% loyal. If that does not happen, you can have all the equipment in the world. You can have all the intelligence in the world. If you have leaks inside, but again, I'm emphasizing, I'm not saying there are leaks, but at times, if you look at what is happening, you're asking yourself, okay, let me give you another example. Look at the one in Niger State, the Catholic school. The governor said they knew this was going to happen. They had intelligence. They told all the schools to close. All the schools closed. One school went back and reopened. Now the government is saying without their knowledge. Well, how that happened, I don't know. Next thing, they went there, kidnapped an unknown number of children. So it means that it's at times, even when you are saying that intelligence, there is intelligence, they are getting these things right to an extent. But along the way, when this intelligence is being disseminated, is it falling into the wrong hands? The same thing you talked about the general who was killed. At times as well, and I'm not blaming the media here, well, maybe social media, we need to be circumspect the way we use information. So if you're a blogger and you got wind of the information that the general is somewhere in the forest and you then put it straight on your page, you're compromising not just security. Think of the life of the man you're compromising, and that's what happened with the general who was killed. So holistically, a lot more needs to be done. Even, and I'm saying this now on the TV station, even our media needs to be properly sensitized. Everything should not be about chasing ratings. We need to be circumspect at times, the way we use information.
In view of that, do you think that of an era of social media has somewhat contributed to the insecurity that we have, some of the issues we are facing in this country? Because some would say the fact that some people can easily access your location, amongst other things, given what you post on social media, amongst others, can actually, pull more weight insecurity-wise.
Well, I mean, starting from the middle, even our military, one should be asking yourself that how did it happen that a military general is communicating on WhatsApp, war fronts. Well, that's neither here nor there, because there are other means that the military could use. But more importantly, social media is a good thing, but it needs to be handled responsibly. You see, you don't want to go down there. I see the way we use our own social media here in Nigeria in particular. And once in a while, you're asking yourself that you don't want to go down the roads of some countries where social media is tightly regulated. Yes, freedom of speech, but also you should also be careful what you're putting out there. By freedom of speech, are you compromising the integrity of your country? That's more important than you wanting to have a certain number of followers by being the first to break news. Ask yourself, is it necessary for me to put this out? Is it necessary? Have I confirmed that this story is not fake? And even if it's not fake, and you've seen this story, you're asking yourself that if I mean, if we've encountered social media in other countries of the world, and it's used responsibly. I'm sorry to say that at times the way we use our own social media here, it hasn't helped our country, particularly our security. It hasn't.
All right, Doctor. Thank you very much for that. And away from the media and social media now, talking about tackling insecurity, we cannot completely talk about it without looking at the root cause of insecurity in Nigeria. So, what do you think is the primary drivers of insecurity in Nigeria?
I'll give you an example. In 1999, we started another round of democracy. 1999 to 2025, we're now heading to 2026. That's about 26, 27 years. Now, the kid that was born May 29, 2020, 1999, that kid is 26 years, going to 27, if I'm right, or 26 years. Now you're asking yourself, a lot of the kids that we refuse to train or refuse to cater for over the last 25 years, they have come back to haunt us. For several years, we keep saying that Nigeria, we are sitting on a time bomb. We are sitting on a time bomb because we didn't have enough measures in place to cater for our burgeoning population. The population was growing on it rapidly, and our social infrastructure, things like education, health, was not meeting or catching up with the population. So we now suddenly have a large group, millions of young ones, who feel their situation is hopeless.
Doctor, we'll come back to that. We'll have a commercial break. Please stay with us.
What wakes you up in the morning? Is it the sunrise? Is it the alarm? No. It's your dream that wakes you every day. It's what drives you like a powerful engine. That's why you start strong every day with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe Original 3-in-1, carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. You are on your hustle, and you won't stop until you succeed. Start strong, finish strong.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on, malaria gone.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Still talking about the rising insecurity in Nigeria. We still have Dr. Sheyo Oyeleye, the Director General of Dawn Commission, here in the studio with us. And before we went on that break, Doctor, we're talking about the primary drivers of insecurity. Yeah. And you said it's largely based on crime and not religion.
As I said, I mean, some might have religious connotation, but we shouldn't run away from the fact that a lot of it is being driven by the feeling of hopelessness. And so you're talking of criminal bandits who are the ones attacking, and it's actually been turned into a money-making venture. Look at it this way. You form yourself into a group or a gang. You are terrorizing people. You can kidnap 10 people, and then you ask for a ransom of 500 million or 50 million each. After enough of negotiations, you collect 250 million. I mean, tell me how many, the type of business you want to do that you collect 250 million at a go. So a lot of it is also being driven by criminality. That's why I disagreed with people who are trying to put a religious connotation to what we are going on, that, it's a Christian genocide that have been targeted. Look, we understand that, of course, in some parts of the country, those are challenges, people who want to claim land and trying to chase people away. But we shouldn't just bracket it and straitjacket it into just, it's a Christian genocide, Muslims are being killed, Christians are being killed. What we must not do is to fall into the trap of people who are trying to now push us into religious war, religious divide. There's no country in the world that has ever survived religious war. We must understand that we are facing terrorism challenges in Nigeria. Christians being killed in large numbers, Muslims being killed in large numbers, atheists being killed in large numbers. Let us confront that once and for all, rather than allowing anyone or any country push us into religious war. Nobody survives that.
Doctor, now, let's do something. The Southwestern governors met, and yes, there was a lot of talking, and we saw the development from there. And yes, your commission was mentioned. Now, looking at it, we saw the meeting, we saw the approval of that SWSF, that's a Southwest Security Fund. and all that. Now, a lot of people are asking questions. What do they need to understand about that meeting and, you know, the outcome of that meet-up between these governors? Because first and foremost, a lot of people are still looking back at the Amotekun that was raised, and they are thankful. At least we can sleep a bit with what we have right now, according to what people have.
Well, as I said, the 6 Southwest governors, they came together in Ibadan on Monday, and of course, they have been proactive. The meeting was called again to review the security situation in the country and to again look at the measures being taken in the Southwest. By the grace of God, Southwest is still the safest zone in the country. But we can't just rely on past efforts. A lot more needs to be done. So when the governors came together on Monday, they looked at the situation, rising insecurity. I mean, if you look at what happened in Kwara State, the Eruku-Ekiti is 5-7 minutes drive into Ekiti State. So it's right there on our roof. So our governors, in their wisdom, decided to come together and review the security situation and then take more measures, which means that, and we have to applaud them for that. You know, some will call me by virtue of my position and ask me, oh, what is happening to the security in the country? And what are we doing in the Southwest? And I'll tell them that, look, combined in the 5 states of 5 states, excluding Lagos at the moment, Amotekun is everywhere, and they are in their thousands. The fact that they are funding Amotekun shows you that they are committed to security, because it's not cheap. I mean, Oyo State has close to 3,500 or more Amotekun, and they are being paid salary. It shows that the governor is committed to it. Mr. Governor, His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde, went to China recently to buy surveillance planes, which will take off sometime early in the new year. Again, it shows the importance. Because, you see, if there's no security, there can be no development. We can talk about all the infrastructure in the world, you know, want to have road, airports, this and that. But there has to be security. With due respect, if an investor comes into Nigeria today, the first place they are looking at is not going to be the northwest or northeast. I'm not saying they're not going there, but the first place they are looking at is where their investment is going to be safe. So when our governors came together, they said, look, let us also have things like the Southwest Security Trust Fund, which means that we can be able to galvanize resources even from the private sector to fund security. Security is not cheap, and it should be everyone's duty. So that's part of the recommendations that came out, that we must now. They've also said that, look, we need to find a way of controlling migration. You see, some think that because it's a democracy, you can move anywhere. But even in advanced countries, there are ways that you regulate these things. You can't just suddenly have an influx of people just coming. And of course, we understand the challenges in other parts of the country. But at some point, there has to be a way we regulate this. If it becomes unregulated, the pressure can easily crush even the Southwest region. So when you heard that, when part of the communique said, there must be a way that we regulate these things. And yes, there are measures that will be put in place.
Thanks to the digital sharing platform, digital intelligence.
Yes, again, what that says is that we're trying to build a network now where if an Amotekun officer in Okeho or Kaka is speaking, that an Amotekun officer in Ilaje or the one in the Ogun Waterside can real time hear what is going on. That enhances security, because it means that if there's an incident in one part, in real time, the entire Amotekun network will be aware. So that's what we are trying to do.
That's not to use our regular telecommunications network.
No. There are other ways of doing it. I mean, of course, it's not everything, but there are other ways of doing it. And as I said, it's just to enhance security. Because don't forget that by virtue again, and I'm sure we'll get there, by virtue of what we do in this country, state police has still not been allowed. So Amotekun, they are not allowed to carry sophisticated weapons. So in the absence of sophisticated weapons, we now decided that, look, let us use technology to defeat or to protect ourselves. And it goes back, then it goes back to the issue, and you can see that they emphasize in the communique that the time for state police is now. I mean, how can you have 220, 30 million people and you have a single police force, central police force, trying to protect 230 million people. It's not going to work. You have an IG of police sitting in Abuja, and he wants to control what happens in Ikpetu Jesha, or he wants to control what happens in Nkalago in Anambra State. No. You see, look at what happened in Kebbi or Niger. Assuming that they have, just let's say they have 5,000 Kebbi State Police, that will go around. Bandits will think twice. If they know that where they are going, they have enough resources to repel if they are attacking. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So when some say, oh no, state police, can we afford? Oh yes, we can. We are a federal country. United Kingdom is 68 million people. They have about 44 different police services, outfits. So why are we then afraid? The other time, a few months ago, Inspector General of Police Egbetokun said, oh no, we don't need state police. And I said, oh God, you are living in the past. You are living in the past. The time for state police is now. Because if we don't do that, it's just to be tantamount to whistling in the wind.
And Doctor, this is, there's been renewed call for state police. It's been, a repeated conversation we've had in Nigeria. And I remember a few months ago when over 200 people, were killed in Benue State, and the president visited the state. He also mentioned it and told the governors to look into, creating state policing. Until now, we've not seen it happen. What exactly is, should I say wrong, with our leadership structure in Nigeria? Because at the point where it feels like lives are being lost on a daily basis in Nigeria, that should be, the first point of call for governors. But we've not even seen that happen. What exactly is it?
It's not in the hands of the governors. At the last count, I'm sure 35 states out of 36, they've given their approval that we are ready for state police. And I know that the bill is at the national, because Mr. President cannot unilaterally just create state police. It has to go to the National Assembly. I think that the foot dragging, or if it's not foot dragging, we need to call on our National Assembly to expedite action. It's for me, if you're asking me, that's what do I think? It has become what I call an irreducible minimum that the country needs state police. And I'm surprised that it's not at the front burner of the National Assembly, going by what we see.
And that is why I mentioned.
So it's nothing to do with the governors.
No, that was why I said, those are the helms of affairs, in the country. Why are they dragging feet on the particular?
Some. I mean, part of the misgivings or people have said in the past is that, if you have state police, governors might misuse it, and I laugh. Amotekun is going to be 6 years, February next year. I'm not sure anyone has come out to say that Amotekun is being misused by the state governments. We've gone past that. You can't say because you don't like your face, you are cutting off your nose. Because that's what we are doing at the moment, by not focusing on issues that will... Because Mr. President now gave a directive again, or was it on Sunday, that we need to withdraw policemen from VIPs. We are told that about 100,000 of them guarding VIPs. Now, 100,000. By that pronouncement, even if he achieves like 50,000, because they can't, some are legally entitled to police protection anyway. So, assuming that he gets about 50,000 or 60,000, that's plus. But that's still like putting a spoon of water in the Atlantic Ocean. Your state, look at the landmass. Niger State, look at the landmass. There's no way the federal police alone can do that.
All right, thank you very much for that part. All right, we'll continue right after this break. Don't go anywhere because we still have some more questions to address these insecurity issues that we have.
Supramalt Multivitamin Junior.
Thank you very much for staying tuned with us. We're still talking about the rising insecurity and Southwest Governor's efforts with Dr. Sheye Oyeleye, the Director General of the Development Agenda for Western Nigeria Commission. Let's talk about the forest. Surveillance, the hideouts, the moves being made, and the President's statements not too long ago. What about it? What do we need to actually see as citizens?
Well, I'll start from the Southwest. Part of what the governor said is that we need to do more in protecting our forests and to ensure that it's safe for our people. I'm of the opinion that actually nobody should be living in the forest in the first place. I remember the late governor of Ondo State, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, of blessed memory. He once said that why should you be living in the forest? Come outside and live. Don't stay there. But our forests have become very dangerous places, peopled by different characters, shady characters, hiding under the forest. So what our own governors are now saying is that we need to do proper monitoring of the forests. That was why they said, okay, I mean, good. Again, the federal government, they're saying that they want to recruit more forest, they're setting up forest rangers or whatever they are called. And the governor said in the communique that, look, yes, we support this. Of course, the states will be the one to recruit these people. Some said, oh, why would the state recruit? And I said, it's only the local people that will know their forest better. Because if you turn it into another police force, that means that you can go and recruit somebody from Takum in Taraba State to come and guard the forest in Okeogo. It's not going to work. So you are better off recruiting locals who know the area to guard the forest and then chase out those who shouldn't be. I mean, you don't stay in the forest. It's parts of the crisis that we still need to confront is this open grazing thing. You see, everything is interlinked, but one of the things we love doing in Nigeria is we love running away from the truth. We don't confront our demons. Everything is interlinked. Yesterday, there was a news that broke that, government has banned open grazing, but within a few minutes, they quickly said, no, that's not the situation. What we have done is still a progressive thing. I said, look, we must get there. We need to ban open grazing. No need to hide. Once we ban open grazing, you are solving a challenge. There are other things as well that we believe that there has to be proper documentation. So if you're moving from point A to point B in Nigeria, you have to be properly documented. Our borders are very porous, unfortunately. And because the borders are porous, people stroll in and stroll out. But even in advanced countries, the likes of America and co, they are finding ways of enforcing the integrity of their borders. And that's some of the things we need to do if we want to control because you can't, once you think, it's all commerce, or people can come and go without any regulation, it's a different world now. Maybe 200 or 100 years ago, but this is 2025. We need to move with the times to ensure that, because when part of the challenges again we are facing is when Libya was dismantled, when Gaddafi was toppled, all the fighters there scattered all over Africa. Some of them moved down to the Sahel region, which is our borders. And then we are facing, that's why you see some of them carrying sophisticated weapons. And you're asking, how did they get this type of weapons? It's a hydra-headed monster, but if we are focused, if we concentrate our minds, trust me, we'll be able to solve this challenge. So I'm excited that the governments, and Mr. President said it yesterday, they want to focus more on the forest areas. And again, as citizens, if you see something, say something. The so-called bandits or terrorists, not all of them live in the forest. The vast majority live among the people. You shouldn't be afraid to say something.
Talking of Mr. President, revealing that, they're going into the forest, cutting off the areas and all. There's also been reaction based on that. People saying that you shouldn't have announced, if you want to strike them, why not just, catch them unaware? And, there's just been, do you think it was fair of the president to have made, such announcements?
It is good to make that announcement. Again, You know, if there are people, if there are innocent people around there, they too will take precaution.
I mean, just like you said earlier, why would anyone want to live in the forest?
Exactly. Why would any reasonable person want to live in the forest? It is not a farm settlement. Farm settlements abound if you want to farm. Don't go and because of the situation we are facing anyway, don't go and stay in the forest. So when Mr. President announced, and some said, oh, you shouldn't have said it, you should have just been throwing bombs. No, you don't do that. If you do that, you know, let me go back to when President Trump threatened to send troops. And I said, so who do you want to come and bomb? Who? Where would you start from? And how would you know you're bombing a terrorist and an innocent person? It is not a straightforward 1+1 situation. Mr. President himself has to be careful to ensure that innocent lives are saved. But at the same time, the military, they have a job to do. And you see, we must not fail to say this. The military are doing an extremely important job. It's unfortunate that we've turned them into a military that has to do internal security. Military is not set up to do internal security. These are men and women laying their lives for us to sleep. And we must credit them for that. That's why I'm sad. Again, going back to social media, once in a while when our troops are maybe ambushed and killed, and you find people on social media celebrating that. That's sad. These are people who are laying down their lives for me and you to sleep in our beds.
Doctor, now, as we begin to wrap up on the show this morning, I have questions in my head, but then those questions border around the role of individuals like Sheikh Gumi, also about, you know, the reaction that we expect from citizens when they see that we're going to terrorists and you've said, okay, these people are repentant. They've said, okay, we are letting these people go. And then you're saying you're letting them go scot-free. And then it feels like, why is that? You know, at a point in time, we have to think about what it speaks to the mind of the people who see that week in, week out.
But you mentioned something about repentant terrorists. I have... and this is my own opinion. Repentant terrorists, we thank you. Thank you for repenting.
In quotes.
But please, don't incorporate them into the security agencies. It is wrong. You can't tell me that someone who spent the better part of his growing up years killing people, kidnapping people, suddenly repented and you then put them in the military. I hope that has stopped. I hope that is no longer the case. Now, again, you see, the government once in a while will come around and say, oh, we know the terrorist sponsors. We know, then name them. Name them and prosecute them if you know them. Don't just come around and say, oh, we name them, we'll come after you. That has become rhetorics. If you know, look, Algeria had issues with terrorism years past, but they buckled down and confronted them and wipe them out. So nobody should come and tell me that, oh, this is a problem that cannot be solved. It can be solved when there's political will. And that political will, we need to apply it more. And also, one of the things we also need to do, again, it's, we need to continue to monitor the activities of certain individuals to ensure that at no point are they compromising the integrity or security of the country. And I'm talking of individuals in high places, influential people. They need to be just, and once in a while, bring them in, have a chat. What are you doing? We can't just think that we'll solve this problem alone by using our military to fight on a daily basis. That's not the situation. So all I will say is that a lot more needs to be done, but we must give them kudos for what they're doing. You know, it's unfair to say, oh, the government is not doing anything. The government is weak. And I said, the situation is not 1+1. It isn't. You cannot have 100% foolproof security. But the citizenry, they have a lot of work to do as well.
And Doctor, I mean, talking of the citizenry you mentioned, firstly, I think we should give kudos to the Amotekun outfit, and of course the Southwest governors. You know, they are doing, you know, a fantastic job talking of, you know, keeping the Southwest particularly safe from, you know, terrorism, banditry, and the likes. But this is to talk to the people now, and as we wrap up on this segment this morning, I want you to give your words to the people because, I mean, looking at the North, we've heard reports that the terrorists are living, you know, with the people And we keep saying, when you see something, say something. How should we begin to encourage people to let them understand that when you speak up, you're speaking for the benefit of yourself, your family, and of course, everyone around you?
Yeah, thank you. And I say that's one of the advantages of even having state police, because state police will largely be peopled by the indigenous of that state, largely. And what will happen is that people will have more trust in sharing information with someone that they know than a policeman that came from a different part. They want to go and share information. So, in closing, all I would just say is that we shouldn't live in constant fear. And that's what the enemies want. That's what the bandits want. I see a lot of things on social media, which is just to try and strike fear into people. In fact, you find people sharing videos of 10 years ago and telling you it happened yesterday, just to create fear. What we should do is that as long as we understand that security is not just a matter of government, we are all security men and women in our own little corner. If we do the right things by ensuring that if we see something wrong, and one of the things we'll be doing in Southwest, which is my own area, is that soon we're going to have that emergency line that everybody will be able to call if they see anything. That will go. That again will go a long way in solving our problems. But we should not live in fear. If you are a praying person, please pray, but not just pray, but also back it with action. So if you see something irregular, don't be hesitant. Don't just shrug your shoulders that, oh, it's not my issue. If you say it's not your issue, if I say it's not my issue, then it becomes everyone's issue one day. So my admonition is, don't live in fear. The government is doing their best, and we will continue to push them to do more. But at the end of the day, our security is in our hands and also in the hand of God. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sheye Oyeleye. He's a lawyer and the Director General of Development Agenda for Western Nigeria, Dawn Commission. Thank you so much for speaking to this topic. And of course, we also have to thank you, for supporting, the security initiative we have in the Southwest. And especially talking of the new Southwest Trust
Fund, Security Trust Fund.
Security Trust Fund, we are hoping in weeks to come or months to come, it's going to get stronger.
Absolutely.
We can see, something beautiful come out of it, especially in terms of protecting, Southwest and the nation as a whole. Yeah. Thank you very much, Doctor.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll be right back after this break with our second guest. Please stay with us.
much for staying tuned. Yes, we actually have more for you this morning, but first off, we have to let you in on the reports that we have created about correspondents on the Southwest Governors meeting, and of course, that security trust fund that we just spoke about. Listen, watch, enjoy, and of course, we'll be right back.
The Southwest Governors Forum meeting held in Ibadan, your state capital, was attended by the host governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, represented by its deputy Prince Kola Adewusi, Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, and Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji. Presenting the communique issued at the end of the meeting, the chairman of the forum and Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said that the leaders reviewed critical issues affecting the region, including rising security threats, agricultural development, economic stability, and regional integration. The forum announced plans to create Southwest Security Fund that will be managed by the Dunn Commission and supervised by the special advisors on security from all 6 states.
The forum agreed to set up a Southwest Security Fund, which will be set up under the Dunn Commission. And this fund will be administered by a forum of special advisors on security of all the Southwest states. And they have been mandated to ensure that they keep on a monthly meeting amongst the 6 special advisors.
The forum, however, commended President Bola Tinubu for his laudable effort in combating insecurity and implementing economic reforms nationwide. The governors expressed solidarity with the federal government over recent security incidents in Kebbi, Niger, and Kwara states. The governor also approved the establishment of a live digital intelligence sharing platform that will enable real-time exchange of threat alerts, incident reports, and interstate security communication.
The forum commends the effort of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The forum commends the effort of our hunters, Amoteku members, and all other security agencies. Thereafter, the forum calls on the federal government to note the urgent need for enhanced forest surveillance across the Southwest states, and join and call on the federal government to secure the vast forest belts that have become hideouts for all sorts of criminal elements.
Concerning unregulated interstate migration, the forum called for stricter border monitoring and collaboration with the National Identity Management Commission to ensure proper identification of migrants and prevent criminal infiltration. The forum further raised alarm over the rise in illegal mining activities, calling for a stronger licensing framework and tougher enforcement to curb environmental and security threats linked to unlawful mining operations.
On state police, the forum reaffirms its support for the establishment of state police. We're emphasizing that the time is now, and we pray that it should not be delayed any longer. The forum further looks at issues regarding agriculture, food security, and climate resilience. The forum wishes to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of the federal government in providing food sufficiency. The forum in particular commends the various efforts of our farmers in the region for what we notice as increase in agricultural outputs and subsequent stability and reduction in food prices.
While reaffirming its commitment to working collectively to tackle insecurity and advance socio-economic development within the region, the forum urged residents to remain united and uphold the tradition of peace, religious tolerance, and social harmony for which the region is known.
Yes, that was the report. And now we have our second guest right on seat to dive into the conversations that we are having this morning, rising insecurity and the Southwest Governor's efforts. Well, the policy development expert joins us this morning in the person of Dr. Adebimpe Aderomo. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, Doctor.
And thank you for seeing me, our viewers, and listening to us.
We just saw the report, of the Southwest during the meeting with the Southwest governors. They talked about the joint security surveillance, advanced technology, intelligence sharing, Southwest Security Fund, forest surveillance, and of course, food security. We heard all these, but how do you think all these will play out, in the security architecture of the nation, especially Southwest?
Yeah, I think this is something that's supposed to have taken place many years back. Unfortunately, our system has been so politicized that governance is almost becoming meaningless. But we must salute the courage of the Southwest governors for coming together to do that. Even though some of us believe that these security matters are not issues that you need fanfare around. They could meet without a lot of noise. They could meet without even any communique released. Because at times, all these things we politicize in politics are dead on arrival. It has to be more of intelligence-based engagements and activities. The Amotekun had been inaugurated, commissioned, recruited, and operational. But a lot of other technical activities could be back-end activities within that framework. Yes, Security Trust Fund is a fund that will be set aside. And they are not going to be announcing who pays into that account, I want to believe. So we may not need that ceremony around it, as far as I'm concerned. Why am I saying so? The security in the country is gone past such activity. We need to begin to be very technical, professional, if I may say, and very silent about the way we deal with that situation. Now to the security architecture of the nation, I don't think it's going to affect anything. Amotekun has come to stay in the Southwest Nigeria, which is a security mechanism put in place. And virtually all states in Nigeria, I stand to be corrected, exist without having one security outfit or the other that they say they make operational to complement what the federal government is having. And we all know that it's becoming an issue for the federal government to be able to handle security matters alone, particularly the ones that has to do with terrorism, banditry, and all sorts that are internal, that has nothing to do with our territorial integrity. So this shouldn't alter what is on ground per se. The only thing that one will expect will be the effect of this effort that the governors are putting in place will be that all the activities of these criminal people are or stemmed to the barest minimums, so to say. Again, we will expect that now that they call for this issue of forest surveillance and all what have you, that will equally enhance the concept of the forest guards that the federal government has been talking about. And that could bring a level of sanity to our system. No doubt about it, we are predominantly agrarian, so to say, in the Southwest. And unfortunately, the headsmen, the terrorists, and the bandits have found those forests uncultivated and they have occupied. And sincerely speaking, we are under siege in the Southwest. What needed to be done? I think there should be a step forward by the state governors activating more proactive policies that could complement the idea of, okay, security trust fund, get arms, support whatever, get personnel.
What policies do you think they should start?
A lot of policies. Thank God they mentioned food security. In the last, how many years? I equally stand to be corrected. I don't see a deliberate intervention by government around here on agriculture, food production per se. Deliberate. I'm not talking about farm estate, whatever. We cannot become London over time.
When you say deliberate, we have seen what the Oyo State government has, done talking of agriculture in Oyo State. But when you say deliberate effort, what other effort do you think should be put in place apart from what has been done?
When you talk about deliberate action or intervention, particularly in food security, it is to make food production massive, so to say. It is after you've had enough, you'll be talking about quality. That's when you'll be talking about exportation. And I keep saying, in policy management, you look at the micro before you are looking at macro. If, since Nigeria had become independent, let me put it that way, we've been saying that our GDP has been dominated by agriculture. Perhaps until lately that we are having some other sectors coming up. And our agricultural practices has been predominantly peasant. First of all, if we are talking about development that is going to be sustainable, we need to first of all enhance peasancy, so that those who are doing it in a peasant form can be more comfortable, they can be more productive. Yes, we say that's not the best, but at the same time, that is what has been supporting. It's after that that we will have a system in place that gradually encourages the commercial farming. But again, you find out that we are in a system where inputs that are even politically given doesn't really get to the farmers that are going to use it. They are not protected in their farms. I will expect that in the Southwest, we can have farmland that government can deploy Amotekun to guard. And then you allow farmers to farm there. They know they are safe there. And food can be coming out of that place in order to support our needs.
All right, Doctor, we'll be right back. We have a commercial break. And when we return, we'll talk about the rising insecurity we've seen in the past few days in Nigeria. Please stay with us.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Chrome out on malaria gone.
Supramult Multivitamin Junior.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Before we went on that break, Dr. Aderomu was talking about, food security, efforts of government. And, Doctor, I just want to say that in the past, few years, especially since the establishment of Amotekun, we've seen them do so much, talking of security, not just guarding the people, but also properties, farmland, and as much as we are expecting them to do much more, we should also give kudos to them, for what they've been doing. But back to the rising insecurity we have in Nigeria now. We see what played out in Nigeria in the past few days, a kidnap of students, pupils, church, going into churches. In fact, just yesterday, same Kwara State, yes, abduction of 11 residents, another happened in Kano. And it's just like an everyday affair, everyday occurrence in Nigeria. How exactly are we going to tackle this menace in Nigeria if we are still clamoring or calling for state policing and nothing has been done about it so far?
Yeah, for me, it's not that do we call it insurgents now, or the rising insecurity in the nation is anything that is welcome. But some of it, as far as I know, are politically motivated. No doubt about that. Because if we remember the history of how we started this experience, it was said that a former president, while gunning for power, needed to mobilize in some people in order to beef up his own team, and then this terror we begin to experience started, which tells us that it is actually politically motivated. Till date, that cannot be ruled out, either to sabotage the effort of the federal government or to undermine what the ruling party can do as regards that. We can't rule that one out. However, I want to believe so strongly that the step that the Southwest governors are taking to step up on the security can be emulated by other regions that can help us to tackle insecurity. The issue of state policing will help us, but we all know that it has been more political in going against it. The governors are going to misuse it, they are blah, 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 blah. That one, we are getting scared of the death. We are getting scared of death before it comes. And that is not going to help us. If state policing is operational, it will help us the more. Someone somewhere will not bring animals to graze my own crops, and he picks phone to call somebody in Abuja who doesn't even know the terrain, who had never been in Oyo State, so to say, and because he's placed somewhere high, he begins to give directives, and I will end up becoming the culprit. That will not happen. The maximum that will happen will be that from my village to Ibadan, and that person must be from Oyo State, and he must have an understanding of what the terrain looks like. That will help us, no doubt. That one, working with community policing, will help us. Perhaps because the issue of communication, language barrier will no longer be there. It could be a bit easier for us to communicate because most of the people that are at the grassroots will find it difficult to speak this language we are speaking. And they can be talking proverbially, reporting an insecurity or occurrence, so to say. They can be saying that, but you will notice it. People will understand. They will have conveyed a message. Other than somebody who had come from the north or the east that is here, that will not hear or that will not understand that kind of balance. So that will really help us. And I want to believe that the National Assembly will expedite action to get whatever bill on the state policing passed. We cannot continue to get scared at what we are yet to see. If it is possible for federal government to abuse the use of police, yes, that is about power. And the state governors started, or by the time we start state policing, began to use it. We will still address that. We will tackle that when we get there. I think that's the way we should be reasoning. We will not say because it will be abused, we're not going to take advantage where it is important. And particularly, the Amotekun, that, what's it called? That formation had been doing fantastically well. But as far as I'm concerned, Amotekun is still understaffed, under-equipped. And when I was mentioning the issue of carving out somewhere, I'm not saying the general security, but I know that if I'm going to this settlement, I'm sure I can go there in the morning, do my farming activities, get out of there, and I'm sure. Because they cannot be everywhere as expected because the workforce is still very, very, very small. But I think for the state police, we need it, and we need it like it should start yesteryears.
Okay, Doctor, now we're talking about this, efforts from the Southwestern governors, and yes, they had a meeting again recently. They shared a lot, and we're seeing some of those things being activated. Do you think at this point in time we need to have a way to check and balance all the things that you have said, and how we can move forward from there? So that at least our feedback would help them see areas where there are lapses. For a while now, some people have been saying they are doing bits, but this area, we're not seeing some things in there. So how do we actually look at checks and balances to ensure that these governors get the feedback that they would need to actually advance?
I think the governors needs to be sincere at this point. The inactivity of the local government is not doing us any good. They know, the governors know, that it has not done us any good as a system. It might have done them good personally. Because I don't know how the state government wants to work effectively without the local government that is independent in its own operation and complement what the state government is doing, or domesticate whatever policy the state is putting in place. But if we remove this selfishness and let the local government be as autonomous to be effective, it will help us. And the governor shouldn't forget that their office is termed. They will leave. Another person comes in. It will not augur well that we start hearing some of them suggesting in the future. That will speak a lot on their integrity and even their children yet unborn. We need to face this thing squarely now. Whatever investment they put abroad, with time, other trumps will come up in some other nations that they have their investments. some other stiffer policies are going to come up in America. Because they too need to survive. And Trump has just been sending a signal that some people own this place first. It will still come up in some other nations. So our leaders shouldn't be thinking that they are so insulated from all this. I want to believe strongly that if the local government or system is working as expected, that is when whatever the governors are agreeing on can be effective. Not this one that they will only say it is if, or they tell the local government chairman, go and do this, go and do that. Those ones will be in pieces, like you have said. That means it is only when the governor wakes up from the right side of the bed to think about security that he will now call and will tell them, do X, Y, and they will do it. Only God knows when next. So that would not be a working system.
Doctor, this comes amidst concerns about illegal mining, the unregulated migration that we've seen, smuggling and all that we've seen across board now. How do you think we can manage that situation, given the outcome of that meeting that they had?
Yeah, you see, illegal mining had ever been associated with criminality all over the globe. And mining breeds other crimes naturally. It behoves the government to be able to identify that likelihood and put a system in place that checkmates that. No doubt about it. If I don't have any other understanding, I have good understanding of Osun and Oyo State as regards mining. And I know that most of our mining sites, you find a lot of criminal activities happening around there. Unfortunately, non-indigens dominate the domain. Each of those areas are dominated by foreigners who are not even Nigerians or people who are not indigenous of that area. I think we should come up with an improved mining policies that will engage the miners with the community more than it has been. It should go beyond the community leaders have signed, we have an agreement. In operation, they should be involved. And most of these gemstones should be processed here. The government should work on having those companies or industries established locally. That will stem the transfer. That means it is not just a cabal that will be working on it and be funding it and have access to where it's being processed to make money. Everybody wants to make money. But again, if that is done and security is enhanced, I think we can be better for it before we become another Congo.
So from what you've seen so far, do you think there's a long-term vision with how we have been executing the security network in the Southwest now, starting from the enactment of the Amotekun, how they have been run up until this moment, and now the Southwest Security Trust Fund that we're talking about? Do you think there's a long-term vision? Do you think there's something for a Southwestern security architecture that might change everything?
Yeah. It might be slow, but it's not that the advantage is not going to come if there is continuity, not only with those who are in government now, but the future governments that we are going to put in place, if they keep on building on it. And I want to believe that with Dawn Commission, this one is having the short, medium, and long-term vision that needed to be pursued.
Okay.
So,
well, with the Amotekun, we have seen, how that has been, it has played out in the Southwest, and how, they are working really hard to protect people, lives and property in the Southwest. But at this point, where we have incessant killings, kidnapping, banditry in the northern region, don't you think, if the state police has not been approved, at this point, they should also be looking into having, a security outfit like Amotekun in that particular region?
Yeah, they should. But I know all the states, I still stand to be corrected, in the north, has one outfit or the other, complementing the effort of the national police structure. If they find it necessary, let me say that, they need that networking. Because for Southwest, what the governors are just telling us that the networking is not that Lagos will be pursuing criminals and they will come and settle down in Oyo State, or Oyo State is acting, they go to Osun or Ogun, and then they get harbored there. That's what the networking could do. And I think they should institutionalize it with more effective policies that are going to be domesticated in those states. Beyond, we have Amotekun here, how operational are they? What is the synergy in between Amotekun and the local hunters? You can't rule away the activities of the local hunters. They've been doing quite a lot, but they have limitations. The government should enhance those ones as well in order for them to be able to relate effectively. Again, I think there is a synergy that must be worked out in between Amotekun and the police as regards the reporting line, as regards some other operations, because
Intelligence.
yes, intelligence, one, but again, there have been cases where Amotekun make an arrest and police still dance around, whatever. They need to sort out that.
A synergy.
A synergy that gives an average Amotekun officer the confidence that once I execute that which is correct, it's going to further be supported by other what do they call it? Outfits, yes,
of course,
agencies.
Because it's still, a regional security outfit.
Yeah.
So that might not be seen for now until probably it becomes a full-blown, state police network or outfit.
Network, that's what we're saying. It's like, okay, we are being killed. The federal government should not lose sight of the urgency. The urgency is not in the law, is this, is that. I think is a level of unseriousness on our part if we are not taking this issue as urgent as it demands.
All right, Doctor, we have a commercial break, and when we return, I want us to look at our education in Nigeria and how, these insurgency has affected education in Nigeria. Please stay with us.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an